In light of the current state of the world, this is an excellent time to learn more about what's going on with the immigrant community here in the Boston area, and our guests today can help us with that. Today's speakers, Claudia Greene and Carolina Louback, are from English for New Bostonians. This is an organization that's been ensuring access to high-quality English classes for immigrants since 2001. Claudia has been the executive director since 2006, and Carolina is the program associate and volunteer coordinator. The main focus of her work is the Emergency Shelter English for Speakers of Other Languages program, which offers English classes for people living in shelters. Today's presentation is called Elevating Immigrant Voices. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Hi, good afternoon. I think our slides, does that sound too loud?
Yeah. How are you guys hearing us over there? Pretty good?
Okay. Thank you so much for having us. It's really a treat to be here. I've been in this building before, but it's really an honor to be here with Carolina as a speaker. I come here as a Bostonian for over 30 years, as a Jew myself, and as the executive director of English for New Bostonians. And I think this couldn't be a more timely moment to share with you the work that we do at English for New Bostonians. For me, I've been in my job almost 20 years. I love my job. It's what I love about it is that we're at this very exciting intersection of adult education and workforce development and immigrant advocacy. And it's always changing, and you know it's changing right now. So let me, what Carolina and I wanted to share with you today, sorry, I didn't get a practice session. Okay, so what we wanted to sort of talk with you about today is our English for New Bostonians, our work and our impact, a little bit about the current context, which I'm sure that you all have been following, but sort of how it relates to our work with immigrant communities here in Boston and Massachusetts. We wanted to share with you some volunteer opportunities that Carolina will. We're also going to share a short video, make it a little interesting, and talk about ways you could join hands with English for New Bostonians, and then absolutely look forward to all questions and discussion. And that's really, for us, I think, the richest part of this. So, I wonder if you know that there are 500,000 people in Massachusetts that need English classes to fully participate in our economy and in our Commonwealth, but actually only about 5% get into a class. The gap is huge. There's a lack of funding. It's the inaccessibility of classes, and that many standard English for speakers of other languages, that's ESOL classes, really just don't match what people's needs and what their goals are. But English classes are the first open door for immigrants, for newcomers, and more established immigrants, actually, where people find information and community and a path forward. And that is actually more important now than ever. At English for New Bostonians, we create opportunities for people, for immigrants, to learn English and pursue their dreams. But our core business is actually a lot more than teaching English. We actually employ 4 main strategies, which you can see up here: investment, innovation, leadership, and advocacy. I just realized, is that our... Oh, okay, all right. Sorry. All right, so I'll tell you how. Sorry, I didn't realize that was sent there. Okay. We identify gaps, we identify gaps and leverage the investment of government and business and schools and foundations, and you can see those little icons around there which are representing those. We support, here in Boston, we support 24 high-quality ESOL programs in all neighborhoods all over the city of Boston. We have a list on our website, but they're in many different neighborhoods and supporting all different linguistic communities. And that's about a quarter of the ESOL system here in Boston. And that investment supports our ESOL Pathways programs, which are offered by 18 of those 24 organizations, community-based organizations, that help immigrants to gain English and workforce skills and digital literacy skills to navigate the U.S. labor market. And once they do, they can fully contribute their talents. And I always want to make sure that people know, we see people in ESOL classes, I'll show you some demographics in a second, but that come with all different backgrounds, right? All types of educational backgrounds, professional backgrounds, and what their common need is to learn English. We also have what we call our Immigrant Economic Resiliency Initiative, and that is sort of overlaid across those ESOL Pathways programs with 9 of our most grassroots organizations. So where they may not have the staff to have a job developer or a career counselor, we have a team of multilingual career coaches who offer career workshops, as well as where they do job search and job readiness, resume prep, interview prep, and they also do one-on-one coaching, which is really one of the most important things I think that our organization offers right now, especially now. So really helping people to have a vision for their future. It may not be that they're going to get a new job tomorrow, but that they have a vision for how to move from mopping floors or being in the back of the restaurant, that is not necessarily what they need to do for their life, but to think about what their next steps are for themselves and their families. So, and we also, through that, what we call ERIE, everything has an acronym, we also build relationships with employers and skills training programs, and we actually just offer, with Carolina's help, a skills training fair, an ESOL skills training fair. So where the presenters from lots of different programs across Greater Boston are presenting in a way that is accessible for English language learners, and to let people know what the opportunities are and to help them to connect with skills training opportunities to take the next step. And just to show you a little bit about who we serve, so as I said, classes are diverse, inclusive, and evolving. I think that's one of the most important things right now, I want to say, is that, so showing you here, this is put together by our evaluation manager of grants and evaluation. So what's interesting, this is a 3-year average to give you a sense of who we serve in general. So with these averages, in the last 3 years, our demographics have really changed quickly. And if you've been following the news, you understand that many newcomers have come into Massachusetts over the last few years. In 2022, the average student had been in the country the average student among the 1,500 that we're serving had been in the country for 4 years. Last year, the average student had been in the country for 1 year. So that's a big change. Many of those immigrants are from Haiti. So, and you can see the percentage of Haitian students has gone up from 18% in 2022 to 48% in 2024. And that's almost a majority of who we're serving today. So that we're still serving a lot of native Spanish speakers, but the percentage has gone down. And the percentage of women has gone down a bit from 75 to 63%. And the percentage of parents accordingly has gone down some. Unlike the other demographics, the average age and formal education have stayed relatively steady. So living in the city of Boston, you may know many of the community organizations, and again, they're listed on our website. We have 4 programs in East Boston, a few in Dorchester, Mattapan, Hyde Park, downtown, Chinatown, you name it, in all neighborhoods of the city. So, and then next slide. So we also push innovation. We make sure that students get 21st century technology skills. And the online learning tools are really to help students in class as well as to prepare for jobs and just living in the 21st century, living in the world where we all use the internet, as you know. And then also for people who can't get to classes. We pivoted tremendously during the pandemic. 100% of our 65 classes went online. Now about 75% of them are back in person, and about 25% are offered online. And that's, you know, some of our specialized classes are online for people who really are best served from home. More and more, we try to customize our programming to the immigrants' background and experience, as well as their roles here and their goals. So we have an ESOL for parents curriculum that we developed in 2012, 2013, that allows parents to improve their English skills and be their child's first teacher, navigate the school system, advocate for their kids, and learn about expectations of the school system, and to really be that, you talk about in education, the three-legged stool, the student, the school, and the parent. So to fully sort of occupy that role. We also have a curriculum that is it's called ESOL for high schoolers, or high school families, and we developed that with the Boston International Newcomers Academy. And the kids of those families, they often serve as translators for their parents, and they really want their parents to learn English and to understand college financing and to earn a better living to support their family. So another area of our customized programming is our English for immigrant entrepreneurs. So I wonder if you know that about 30% of Main Street businesses here are immigrant owned. So we, in response to like working with those business owners and aspiring business owners, we have a specialized curriculum that's all about English. It's learning English, but also about financing and marketing and communication, management, et cetera. And business owners build their confidence speaking with customers and their lenders in English, and they expand their markets, and they create new jobs. Childcare owners, like Maria, are expanding to English-speaking families and communicating with parents and meeting licensing requirements and giving the best care that they can to our youngest learners. And we all know that childcare is a huge issue right now. So this is really an important piece of that, of expanding the early learning system. A slide we don't have, and perhaps Carolina can say a word about this, is that in last year, we spent the entire year working in partnership with the state to serve people in the emergency assistance shelters. So we were offering classes in 14 emergency assistance shelters, which were hotels and motels around the state, mainly Haitians living there, as well as others from Latin America, but teaching English classes in really crazy logistic circumstances. In some cases in a hotel ballroom, in some cases in a renovated hotel room where they removed the dresser and the bed and created a classroom, and in some cases just off-site in order to accommodate people, in some cases remotely, but mostly in person. So we are actually going to be continuing some of that work as people are exiting the shelters. So just we don't have a slide about that. In addition, larger companies that rely heavily on an immigrant workforce also turn to us to help offer workplace English classes. So like the supermarket, we have one of our partners, the small supermarket chain called Stop and Compare, we've offered classes with them for the last several years. Joshua here, who's in the what do you call that, the meat department? I don't know. Didn't have time to get to a class after work, but he got one at work. and now he offers better customer service. And the company's executives have become great advocates for ESOL in the Commonwealth. We also bring together state and local officials and business leaders to address what we all know is a critical labor market issue in our region. We bring teacher training and research and evaluation to the field. We also convene ESOL providers locally as well as around the state. And with that, I want to just share with you, under the new administration, we did that. We convened practitioners, and we asked them what they're hearing from ESOL students and really just what's going on in ESL programs right now. And this is, and as you know, this is in light of, since January or even before January, as people were sort of settling into this reality, there are 26 executive orders around immigration that have been issued by the administration. There's also increased ICE enforcement, and we can, which is having a tremendous impact. So what we heard about people's concerns, deportation and safety, stress, having accurate information, fear of learning loss, of dropping out of programs, and changing status and losing work authorization. So we did this convening back in February. I would assume it's pretty much the same right now. A couple just other, some of the things that we've been hearing from programs. We know of in our 24 ESOL programs, we know of at least one person who has been deported. His brother actually came to the program. His brother, who was also in the program, actually came and sought support from the ESOL programs. ESOL programs are seeing, we're sort of the front line of, they see people 2, 3, 4 times a week. And so being able to provide information, and comfort and just really keeping people being able to move forward, I think is super important. It's an excruciating time in immigrant communities and ESL programs. One of our coaches, I just heard, the other day when we were asking about, kind of how are students doing. The coaches, as I said, they work on helping people to envision their future. And what they're hearing is, yes, we want to, but how can we make a plan for the future when we don't know what's going to happen? What programs, what ENB is doing, what ESL programs are doing, offering Know Your Rights trainings, providing accurate information, adapting curriculum, and adapting curriculum to include more information about safety and legal issues, and about people raising their own voice, to be honest, and prioritizing safe spaces. We've done that in our office. I think you've done that here too, and stress reduction strategies. We've actually been working with someone on developing sort of a workshop for stress reduction. So we also, as an organization, we do some of our own advocacy. The situation at the federal level is pretty devastating. What we do know is there are some opportunities here in Massachusetts that look a lot brighter. So we know that there's need for expansion, as I said earlier. A small fraction of those who need English classes are actually getting English classes. So we have, and in the work that we do and many other ESL programs, we sort of are operating with several different state agencies, and it often is not as coordinated as it could be. I'll just leave it at that. But so we are currently working on this act to promote economic mobility through ESOL, which calls for coordination among the state agents, a coordination and a plan and a good strategy for ESOL for addressing English language needs across the Commonwealth in a coordinated strategy. We're building off the report that you see here in Massachusetts. It's a great name for a report that was done by Mass Inc., which you may have heard of, that's called Massachusetts Needs an Actionable Strategy to Expand ESOL Services. It is direct and to the point. It includes 7 main recommendations, and that is what led us to, in a coalition, to work on this act to promote economic mobility. We're also sort of constantly advocating with the state around providing resources for expanding workplace English classes, to ensure that there's certain funding within the state, but not a lot of it goes toward English classes, and we're always trying to encourage more of those public-private partnerships. Last year, we advocated with the mayor and with city council to include funding, additional funding for parent English classes in the city budget. So that was a city victory we were pretty proud of, and those funds have come through this year. So we are active on that front. And let's see, so our work is at all levels, from all the way from one-on-one coaching to the advocacy level. And I want to pass to Carolina to talk about sort of ways that we work with non-immigrant communities or immigrants who have learned English and want to sort of pay it forward through volunteerism. So
Thank you, Claudia. Well, that was a really wonderful overview. E&B does a lot, and at first it can be a little overwhelming. So in terms of volunteering, we can start diving into the tutoring role. So you would be joining Allies for Immigrants, and this means that you would be weekly, bi-weekly, present in one of the classes, in one of the E&B funded programs. In this role, you're able to be supporting teachers on site or online, because we do have virtual and in-person classes. It could be that you're matched with a student that is working on a specific skill, or they're getting ready for their citizenship exam. So this would be one-on-one tutoring. You would not be exclusively in the class. We do encourage tutors to guide conversation groups. Of course, every program, every teacher has their own plan and their own routine, but since language is social, it is very, very precious to count on our volunteers to create those conversations and to really provide interaction for many of these folks that could have exposure almost 190% of the time to their native tongue, depending on where they live, who they are interacting with in their day-to-day life. So I do see volunteers, when they become tutors, really making the difference in guiding conversation. The second opportunity I want to share with you is the mock job interviewer. So these sessions, these interview sessions, usually happen in the springtime. We still have some sessions coming up if you wish to join. But this is when we invite people to practice with students for their real job interviews that are coming up. And so you have the chance to have an orientation with me. You'll have access to all of the materials, but there is no necessary experience with HR. It's all about coming with your full self and allowing them, giving them the chance to practice articulating past experiences, identifying their silver lines. I feel that immigrants often, especially when they're still improving their English, they feel that they're always lacking, right? And they're of course, maybe not even in a lifetime, they'll fully experience belonging. So I always reinforce that when you are leaving, your country and you're adjusting to a new culture, a new language, you're recreating yourself and who you are in society, with your family, this is already a huge advantage. And you're already bringing so much to whatever role that you're trying to tackle. So I think it's very important that we, when we come together in these interviews, not only do they get to practice, right, and to learn vocabulary around their skill set, but it's also about the confidence and the self-esteem. So I think volunteers play a huge role in that. And lastly, the business pitch coach. This has been targeted mostly for the annual event that ENB hosts, the Immigrant Small Business Pitch event. It's super exciting. We get 6 finalists, so 6 students from across our programs that will compete with a 3-minute pitch to win cash prizes on their business ideas or with their businesses that are already running. So it's a miracle, only 3 minutes, but they make it happen. And so volunteers are matched with one of our finalists along with a staff member, and we get to really practice and guarantee that the finalists have their presentation ready, that they're feeling confident and comfortable with their discourse. So very exciting. This event happens around March, February. If you check out our website, you can see how the event was this year. And hopefully I'll see some of you next year as a volunteer or also joining us at the event. Would it be this one? Let's see. All right. Now we have a quick video.
I'm working with companies to allow them to think big about employing the immigrant workforce, either the new immigrants that are just arriving or the people that have been working with them for a while, but that they are stuck in entry-level positions just because they don't have the English language skill needed to do more advanced positions. We also, we teach English at all levels at English for New Bostonians. We work with companies who are really bringing college-level English writing classes for their employees, because those managers, they speak more English than me, but they may need some help with their writing.
So we had an employee that was working on the production line. He started the English classes and we promoted him to mixing, which is a promotion from production. But we decided to move him to an even higher position where we didn't have translators available. The owner of the company was concerned that he couldn't speak English and this might be a difficult position for him, so he interviewed him and he was quite impressed that his English skills were excellent, greatly improved.
The way English for New Boston was able to help us put this together was amazing.
The difference between English for New Bostonians and other programs is that they tailor the programs to each individual. Professionals like myself don't want to start zero. We want to stay at the level that we feel comfortable in, and they go from there. That way we can improve, and I notice improvement myself.
Our impact in both programs is actually to change people's life and empowering them through the process of learning English, finding a new job, or exploring careers. We see that they feel so more confident to navigate the system, to navigate the market in the US. And besides the English itself, it's really beautiful to see on how they feel empowered to change their lives.
For my future plans, the English for my family, for get a job, for communicate with the people. My hope is for help my son, because he's at school, for your homework, because I want to speak for help him.
I want to learn English because When I learning English, I can get a better job. I can connect with new people. For my future, I want to become a nurse. I want to travel a different country for work or for relax. And I want to communicate with new people.
We're seizing this opportunity to prepare ESOL teachers to meet this need. What we are doing in partnership with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is preparing former ESOL students to become English instructors. The impact that we're having is that we're preparing more ESOL teachers to provide English instruction to those who need it the most and the opportunities that come with it.
I think it's really important to hire from the local community here in East Boston. EMB has also been very open, always sort of like letting us innovate and letting us approach, program structure in a way that really best serves the community.
When I learned about best practice in TESOL by English for New Bostonians in DC, I didn't think twice. I started working with people who never learned English.
EMB is meeting the moment by training new teachers for the field.
EMB is meeting the moment by bridging compassion and savvy, smart business decisions. We have so many people that can bring so much to this society. If we give them a chance and allow them to learn English, they will pay us back many times.
I'm proud to say that ENB is meeting the moment in Massachusetts.
Wonderful. Thank you. So
Germans have figured out a way to increase water pressure by 15 times without using any energy.
Oh, wow. All right. So the last thing that I want to share, to invite you to join hands with us, sign up for our newsletter on our website so you can keep up with our events and volunteer opportunities, donate, volunteer, and help us advocate. There will be a very, very special event coming up in June 12th, Language of Food, the table, One Table, Endless Connections. We would love to see you there. Share with your community, whoever you feel that would enjoy to be part of our work. As guests, as sponsors, we would love to have you there. And here we'll have a few minutes for questions and discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. My daughter has adopted a family. Is living with them, a couple and their 4-year-old child. Of course, the 4-year-old child is no problem. She's in preschool and she's already understanding English very fluently, working on speaking it. But of course, for her parents, it's a lot more difficult. And you've given me an idea of, I would never be a language teacher. I mean, I wouldn't know where to begin. But is there something that I could give her some practice with? In other words, some kind of workbook that I could just read it and read it to her, and it would tell me what I should do in the way of helping her learn, giving her the practice. Well, and this is not instead of classes, because they're going to classes, but of course it's a very slow process.
I know that the Boston Public Library has a lot of resources specific to ESOL, but I will grab your contact because we have compiled a very short and very helpful the basic resources for volunteers, and this was when we were around the shelters and we wanted to give them extra practice. I feel like this would be good material for you to have in hand. So this would be colors, months, verbs that are more common to day-to-day life. And then after that, definitely books from the library, because I remember when I was an exchange student in Denmark, I was 18 and I had a 10-year-old that was reading to me Danish books before bed. So just that reading together is a very good opportunity with the phonetics, with the exposure. It might be that in the beginning it will be confusing, maybe for them, for you, but that it would be good practice. So I will, before I head out, grab your contact to send that your way.
Hi, terrific presentation. Potentially there are a lot of people from this group in our congregation who would be interested in volunteering. But I want you to be realistic about how useful a lot of us are who may not have had any training in ESOL. It's wonderful to see, and we know that the people that you've trained in English are probably the best teachers. So just be realistic for us.
Go ahead.
I am happy to say that I've seen programs that have had volunteers for 10 years. The same volunteer has been there for the last decade. So it's very special to see how they are integrated in our programs, how they have support, and how they are able to really contribute to the students' process. From my experience, we have a training where we go through what ESOL is all about and how volunteers are making a difference. But there is also additional training that every program has established, requirements that every program has. That is not something that E&B decides on. Although E&B continues to be a point of contact to discuss and answer questions, but we always encourage for the volunteers to build open communication and to be aligned with the teacher and the program, because it is very different. I would also say that from my experience in the beginning, many volunteers are scared to overstep or even scared to not feel useful, right? I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing. I want to help out. And I always say that just the fact that you're offering your time and your energy, that is very, very valuable. And it's funny because maybe in the other end, it wouldn't be that explicit, right, for you to realize the impact that you have. But from what we've heard from students, being a volunteer is a very privileged position because you're not a teacher, but you are very much available and ready to help with a variety of skills, listening, speaking, yeah, you name it. Not necessarily knowing the grammar, but creating opportunity for there to be practice.
I just wondered if you have like the 10 top tips about sort of screening yourself about whether you'd be a good volunteer.
I actually have two that and then Claudia could maybe add, but I always say, we need you to have empathy and flexibility and proactivity, because that just would allow for the interaction, for the exchange to actually happen, for you to come available and open. Mm-hmm.
I would just underline that. I mean, I want to tell you, I just actually came from New Jersey this morning. I was with my dad, who's 92. But when my father retired from a career in the business world, in the private sector, he became an ESOL tutor. And it was one of the most joyous experiences of his life. And he still is connected with people who he helped to become citizens, to go through the citizenship test, to get, and to get new jobs and to get driver's licenses, et cetera. So I would say, you're exactly what Carolina, empathy and what?
Flexibility.
Flexibility, there you go.
I think what you're doing is amazing and life-changing, and I think anyone that volunteers, and I can't do it this year, but I will do it next year, will make a difference in people's lives. I don't think you have to be a special person with special training. I think you have to care and want to do it. And I am actually speaking as a speech-language pathologist who did teach many learning disabled people and certainly could do this. But I think anybody can. If you don't speak English in this country, you're at a huge disadvantage. It's just so limiting. What you're doing is wonderful. Thank you.
So I've just sent, I looked you up as you're speaking, and I've just sent an email where on the contact on your website, but you might put that up, how people could.
Oh, it's on the first slide.
Is it on
If you go back to
something?
the first slide, our emails are up there.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. I thought you might have had a message for us, like, something was broken on our website.
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Yeah. Next time when we come back, we will. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, hello. I have a couple of questions. First is a statement. Several years ago, my late husband taught ESL. At that time, it was called ESL, English as a Second Language. And he met with students. He was on a private tutorial basis. He met with his students we live in Newton, and he met with them at the Newton Library. So it made it very convenient for us to be able to participate in such a program. Is there opportunities like that still? If I wanted to volunteer, which is very, very interesting to me, would I be able to meet with somebody close by so that I could drive there, park my car, get in, and meet with the student? That's number one. That's the first question I have. The second question I have is, when you started your presentation today, you talked about the fact that there were 68%, I think that was the number, I'm not sure, of women in the program now, and there used to be 75, that it was more before. Why is it that women's participation has diminished?
Do you want to?
Oh, okay. I'm going to take a stab at the second one and then let Carolina answer the first one.
Okay.
I think it's because we were serving many more newcomers. I think that has to do with the number of newcomers and the fact that, so traditionally we see more women in programs. I won't speculate about sort of, I think women are more apt to go into a learning situation, and maybe men want to go more directly into the labor force and might not be able to make that time. But I think that the fact that there were many more newcomers where people weren't in the labor market yet, haven't gotten a job opportunity, and so were being encouraged to come quickly into ESL programs. That's my speculation. I don't actually.
And yet it has diminished the size of the percentage of women's participation.
I just think it's more men. It hasn't. You know what I mean? Like the ratio changes. I don't think it's not that fewer women are participating. It's that
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If that works.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I hadn't actually seen that data until it went up yesterday. I had seen the other changes in like how long people have been here and the language and stuff. I hadn't seen that, and so it's something I'm interested to know, but that's my guess.
And have you noticed that people are hesitant, immigrant people are hesitant to come out these days for fear of ICE problems?
Yes. So, we asked that in that convening that we did, and when we go to ESL programs, we visit every program at least once a year, and are in close contact. So I think there was a drop in attendance right after the inauguration, and then it sort of came programs were saying the numbers were coming back up. People were starting to feel more safe coming out. And I think that now, particularly I think in some neighborhoods in East Boston, we know that there's been increased ICE action. So I think it depends in some cases by, neighborhood and by, national origin linguistic group. I think that, by the same token, so yes, some people are don't want to come to class, and programs are adapting, you can do a virtual option. But at the same time, ESL programs are where people know that they can come, again, for community information and a path forward. And that's really important. And so I think that right now we're doing okay in terms of attendance.
Mm-hmm. When we are matching volunteers with programs, we do take into consideration your location. But if it comes when you are available, ready, and interested to volunteer, and say the programs that we have close to you are already with all of their slots filled, I would definitely encourage you to go to your closest library. I've worked at a Newton Free Library a bunch of times, and I've seen many volunteers actually. They have a very large group of people that are assisting ESOL students. So I would definitely encourage you to go to your nearest library, because there must be something happening, even if it's not part of the BPL, one of the branches, but there will definitely be something for you.
And how would I get in touch with you to give you a phone number or speak to you?
Yes, so the flyer that I have handed out has my email address. It's just clouback@englishfornewbostonians.org, and it's also this one right here. Yeah, I really hope to be in touch with all of you soon. There's a question.
Okay. What can you, if I was out of the room for a few minutes, so if you've answered this, please just ignore it. What can you tell immigrants who are understandably so anxious in the face of all this uncertainty and changing policy? What can you tell them that's reassuring?
That's a really good question. I've been working with a few. I live in Milton, actually, and there's a small group of us there, a growing group, but we have worked over the last year and a half to help resettle some families there, Haitian families, and things were going pretty. They came through the Biden administration's parole program for Venezuelans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Cubans, and things just really got upended. I mean, I was at their house the day after they received the notice saying that they need to leave by April 24th, that they need to leave the country or they're subject to deportation. It's really hard. That has been stayed, so now they're, these folks, most of them have temporary protected status, which has also, the move to end that has also been stayed, and so now it's good through August. But it's, it's a lot of uncertainty. I think what the best information, and Carolina, please weigh in, I think that the best we can do is to say that that the legal community and advocates and our justice system will hopefully hold up the legal community and advocates are fighting as hard as they can, and we can see already evidence of that. They're succeeding on many fronts, and that we encourage them to stay and to keep going forward, and to keep hope alive, and we're with them. I think that's our job as immigrant advocates.
Do you have any help? Do you work with lawyers and to help people that have gotten that kind of letter and to what they can do? And should we be demonstrating?
Yes, you
about
should.
These
well,
and Are you trying to do that?
Absolutely, and you'll see us out there as well. Demonstrating. I think that so we do have. So none of us are attorneys, and ESL programs don't have attorneys. But what they can do is to provide people with information. And I know, as again, personally speaking, of working with the group that we've helped to resettle. I helped to set up legal consultations for them. Every advocate, every legally inclined person will say everyone here should have, before they make their next decision, they should have a good legal consultation, so that they know exactly what path they should follow, whether there's an asylum opportunity, whether about their employment authorization, et cetera. So and that's a challenge. I mean, just to go back sort of to our work, I think in ESL programs, many, staff have been through Know Your Rights trainings, but they're not attorneys. And so what they can, and that's stressful for ESL, for teachers, right? There's a lot of questions, and what they continue to do is to provide the legal information, to make sure that people have as much good information as they can, to repeat things, to make sure, so, what does a judicial warrant look like as opposed to an administrative warrant? What does it look like? And to make sure that they can make referrals.
Okay. Only one more, and then we should.
Hi, thank you very much. There are a few immigration justice initiatives underway here at Temple Israel. One is run by Susanna Stern, who's an attorney, and so she has a number of action items, and we can always give you, anyone who wants to can have that information of how to contact her. Also, there is the very beginning of a planning to have a big immigration justice meeting here at Temple Israel. It's spearheaded by Ann Bookman, who a number of you probably know. And again, the planning is just beginning for that. But and your organization, for example, would be a valuable asset to be included in that, because people want to know everything that's going on. So Temple Israel members should be on the lookout for information about how they can do more and what the action items will be.
Awesome.
That's great. I think that's it. I thank you very much. It's a wonderful talk. And there is some salad left over. You can take a plate and take it to your class if you'd like to.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was great to be with you here. And again, just as a reminder for the Language of Food event, if you'd like to join us on June 12th. And we appreciate your support in all forms, including volunteering as well as financial support. Have a great day. It's good to be a partner in adult education.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Oh.